Hi there, I'm Hajnalka Collado from Earthster, Head of Account Management, and today I'm going to show you how to use Earthster, show you some cool tricks to do LCAs at scale, and also I'm going to demo our latest features. And if you're the first time joining this session, you'll know, or the opposite, if you're the first time, welcome, and also all of those of you who've been joining recent more often, um, I would like you to ask to be active in the chat. So this is a live session. That means that you can ask questions during the webinar, and we can answer those. You can get your questions answered during the session, and otherwise we can answer them afterwards. For example, if you're watching a recording, just add the comment or chat question in the chat, and there we can get back to you afterwards. And exactly, so if you're first time joining, what is Earthster? Earthster is an LCA tool, fully browser based, that you can even non-LCA expert can use and understand the LCA impacts of their models. And through that, it's easier to communicate with people who are non-experts for them to understand the implications, for example, choosing bioplastics over normal plastics. And that way you're able to drive sustainability within your own organization also. But we have designed Earthster to be super intuitive, easy to use, but that doesn't mean that you can do only simple models. It's fully the opposite. We take care that you're able to do LCAs at scale. For example, just in a few minutes, you're able to do almost a whole portfolio of models by uploading your bill of materials. That's something that I'm going to show today. And yeah, so doing LCAs at scale is important when you have thousands of products and you want to model everything. And we have many features that you can use, you can have in your tool pack to choose the best ones for your case. And today I'm going to focusing on the generator. That's a new feature that we have recently implemented, demoed already, so not that new, but you're gonna like it if you want to do LCAs at scale. Let me share you my screen. And here. And normally I show straight away a cycle, but today I was thinking that let's get straight into how to use the generator. And since last session, we have added additional things that you're able to configure. And let me show you, if you go to the documentation, you always find more information about the features. Like this, you write it here. You click enter, it starts showing you suggestions for the documentation pages. And here you can find all the information how to use the features. And as you can see here, I'm using an example of Lego blocks, and we're going to continue with that topic, but spice it up with a new type of models. And these are the columns that the new generator take. The best part of the generator is that it's designed for you to take your bill of material as is, and with minimal effort to convert it into the file that you need to use to upload it into Earthster. Cool, isn't it? And that is one of the reasons that here you can see that we have column headers, that it can take alternatives, because we've seen that different ERP systems spit out different bill of materials. And that way, we are making it more flexible for you to just take your file and upload it without the need to always modify your Excels and tables. And we are always keen on hearing from you what kind of bill of materials you have so that we can improve this feature even more. Now, let me show you a lot of talking, still showing only Excels. So, with a generator, like if you have watching the webinars, you know that with the replicator, you can create a model Let me show you from older ones. For example, we go into the Lego boxes or blocks. You can create alternative cycles based on updating the values of your inputs. And that you can do with a file. For example, here is the replicator. This is how simple it could look like. Now the generator is different. What you do is actually create the model based on the specification of what you want to add in there. So you are creating new models with the help of an Excel or a spreadsheet table. And that is an amazing feature for being able to use your bill of materials, create the parts how you want them to be, and speed up your LCA workflow. Let me export the one that I have just prepared. So this is a mock-up of a bill of material, a really simple one, where I have specified the first column here. It has that's going to be the name of the model, so the cycles model. The depth creates a structure, and this could continue even deeper and deeper, so you can have as many levels as you want. And the important thing to remember that the first level is going to create it as a custom process, and the next ones are nested under it. Then the component refers to all your inputs that you're going to be adding to your model. The amount is the amount for that specific component. So in this case, I have the bill of material is for injection molded bio-based polycarbonate Lego piece. And exactly, so I'm imagining I'm gonna be doing 1 kilo, like the data set is for 1 kilo, manufactured in Europe, and it has a really simple inputs, injection molding, the plastic itself, and some colorant. And if we continue with the columns, is the amount is what all those inputs need. The unit is the dataset unit. Like for example, now if you have industrial product like a lock that includes many pieces and parts, you could be saying here that you have 3 screws and 1 O-ring or 1 unit. Any of those you can specify yourself. And the geography is where you're producing the material or your product. And in this case, I'm choosing Europe. The scale is something new. If you've seen already before the generator, the column called scale, you can specify that the newly generated cycle will have a scale unit of 1,000 grams and 1 kilo, both of them. And this is needed, or you can add multiple scale units, meaning production or functional units, to be able to use your own models easier. For example, a useful case to use multiple scale units could be if you want to use metric units and American units. You could add both, you just add it the right ratio, and the system calculates the rest for you. And so these are the only ones that a must have. Let me mark it for you. We're going to mark it with green. So this is the cycle name. You have to have that in your file. The component or process takes several names. You must have it. These 3 are mandatory. The rest are optional. So you can have it, but you don't need it. The description field, description, notes, any of those, the header can be whatever you want. So whatever comes out of your bill of materials, for example, material type, supplier, destination, transportation, anything like that, the system considers as description for your inputs. And if it matches in every single input that's going to be going into one cycle, it's going to add it into a cycle note. And if they're different, like here, it's going to be adding into the inputs description field. You'll see it in a moment. And the last one that we have recently added is query, which is really powerful to help you even be faster with the mappings that require to be able to use your bill of materials. What it does that instead of looking for bio-based PC, it's gonna be looking for polycarbonate PC bio-based, the dataset name. That means that you can write as the component name something more specific to your use case, like a product name, anything that makes sense for you. But when you know that, oh yeah, it's just normal electricity, that's what I want to use, you add that into the query column. Now, a lot of talks. Let's see how it works. I'm going to download this as a CSV file, a comma separated file. When you're using Excel, please make sure that it's the normal type of CSV, not an encoded version, because otherwise you might have difficulties. And but I could have also downloaded this in Excel, so both works. Let's upload it into Earthster. Here we have a workspace just for today's session. In the workspace where you want to generate the models, you just go here, click on the drop-down menu and click Generate Cycles from File. Look, then we go ahead and upload the dataset or the CSV file that I just created. I'll put it in here, drag it. You could also use the lookup, upload and generate. And what's going to happen next is the system tells me the plan. What is it going to execute if I continue? If I would say that, no, this is not what I like, something went wrong with my file, I don't want to do this, you just click the X and nothing will be changed or created. And since this is new information, I'm having new mappings, this is what you would be doing the first time. The system is asking you to translate your bill of material words, whatever you're using in your bill of materials, product codes, all those things, into representing the datasets in the system. Those could mean your own cycles, straight away datasets. I'll show you in a moment how to do both. So the next thing is we're going to say create mappings. Here, if you click here, you can see that which one is requiring mapping. I haven't done this before, so it's the first time. We say create mappings. And look, titanium dioxide, production, sulfate process. This is what's looking for. This is what it's suggesting to me. And the reason is that, look, in here, I named the dataset titanium oxide, but I did specify that I'm looking for this particular dataset because I already knew what I wanted to look for. And what we're going to do when you are in this mapping view, you should always check whether the suggestion is actually a good one or not. And you do it like this. You click here, read more. It opens the data summary of the dataset that it's suggesting. In this case, it's an EcoInvent dataset called the right way, what I was looking for, European version. This looks perfect. Like, good. I'm just going to close this and I'm going to confirm the mapping. I click here. And yes, this is perfect. Now the second one is the polycarbonate, the bio-based. Let's see. Let's see what is that. That's a PEF dataset from EcoInvent. So PEF EcoInvent, which is an open source database. And that's from the European Union. But that's EcoInvent's node, what they call it. But it's not straight away EcoInvent. So that database is for free. And let me see. It's exactly what I was looking for before. We scroll down up here. And again, I confirm the choice. And look, pending mapping, I still have one, injection molding, straightforward, there wasn't anything special. Let's see, read more, EcoInvent dataset, Europe, perfect. And this is a processing type of dataset, that's what I was looking for. So I could just confirm it. Now, if I would be looking for something else because the system suggested something weird, I can click here to change. It opens the search. Make sure you have not clear the filters because the system remembers your old filters if they're not the good ones. And then you can look for other alternatives. For example, I could look for Canadian injection molding if I would want to. So it all depends on your model. So you look up the data set that you need. And then once you have found it, you click go to cycle and then it will take that. And it's going to look like this. And then you say confirm. Now, all my inputs that I had in the model here are mapped to something in the database. The next step is going back to generate the cycles. I click here on the Earthster logo. That takes you always to the latest workspace where you've been working on. I click again the drop down, generate cycles from file. I upload the same file as before. Nothing has changed. I do like this, upload and generate. And now, as you can see, it's telling me it's gonna create a new cycle for us. Nothing will be updated, and there's nothing to stay the same because there's no cycles in my workspace. Execute plan. Now it's doing it, and in a moment we'll have a new cycle. Good, like this. Here it is. And if you look into it, it's exactly how it's been specified, a custom process for injection molded plastic. In the information, I see that all information is set up per kilo. There's the description from here, what I wanted. And as you can see, this didn't end up there. And all the 3 processes that I wanted, that I have specified. And now the good thing in here is that you can use this same file to update the existing ones or just create more. Look, so for example, here we go to the scale units. This is what I mentioned. Now it takes both 1,000 grams and 1 kilo. Then, exactly. So this cycle we can start using in other ones. And that would be the goal, that when you are using your bill of materials to generate your components, that these new cycles, these new components, you will use in other cycles. That's the goal. So that there's less effort for you to do it manually. This model is super simple. I could have done it by hand. So I'm not sure if I would recommend for such a simple thing to use the file. But at the same time, if you keep your Excels in good order, you know exactly what's in Earthster and what's in your bill of materials. And look what happens if we take this same data and now let's imagine we want to add a different type of bioplastic. I'm just going to copy this, paste it here, and then we are going to call this bio-based nylon, like this. This is going to be a nylon type because I saw that PEF has such a data set. And this you would be getting out of your bill of materials, unless you're doing what I'm doing. Of course, for some people like doing things in Excel. Look, bio-based DC. I'm gonna call this nylon. Good, everything else could stay the same. I'm gonna take out the queries. I don't want this time queries. And now what I'm gonna do is have it like this. And look, in the same file, I'm gonna have the first cycle that we had already and the second one that's gonna be for nylon. Let's see what happens. And actually bio-based PC, this also needs to be rewritten. Nylon, like this. Good. Bio-based nylon. Good. Again, this time I'm gonna download it as an Excel that you see it. What's really important when you're downloading your files as an Excel, actually I'm not gonna do that, is that if you use Excel, remember that it only takes the really first tab, the first sheet. That's why I prefer always using the CSV files, because I'm in control what data I'm taking, and you are able to export from Excel the CSV file, just like I'm doing from Google Sheets, or you can do it also from numbers. It doesn't matter the spreadsheet that you're using, and upload it again. Let's see what happens. Let me find the file. We are gonna click here, and now you're gonna see a different thing. So now we go generate cycles from file. We have already mapped most of the inputs that we had. So this time, it's just gonna ask for one new one to map, the titanium oxide and the bio-based nylon, because that something has changed. And the rest, now it's telling me that one cycle will stay the same. I didn't change anything in there, and a new one will be created. So you can use the same file to keep, like, update your models. And then we are going to create the mappings. Titanium oxide, that's still the same. Confirm, bio-based nylon. Let's see, that's the path that I was looking for. Yes, perfect. We go back. And now this is the cool part with the mappings. Once you have mapped them, the system will remember for the next time. So every time you're uploading bill of materials like this, you're teaching the system the language of your ERP system, making it much faster to create LCAs. And the same thing you can do even if you, for example, you find an amazing LCA report online, there is the inventory written in a certain way, you create the same table, and you're able to create those mappings. Like, you just take the table, generate the file, and replicate an LCA report like this. Of course, if it has the inventory, it really often doesn't have it. Okay, look. Here we have the two cycles. One stayed as is it, and the other one, the nylon, now has different inputs. This will have the nylon, as you can see. Different data set. Okay, so now you know how to use the generator file. If you ever need help with it or need a file, I will upload into the documentation an actual example that you can use. But when you don't know how to do something, you click here, chat with us. You can look up the documentations also from within this module, or you go to messages and send a message, and it's going to be probably me who answers your questions. But meanwhile, we are having this webinar. Do you have any questions? Let me see. At least in the comments, I don't see anything yet. Okay, so this was a short demo about the generator. As I mentioned before, the replicator would do something similar, but it would update these values instead. And you might have noticed that in my data, there was these hashtags on purpose to be able to use it in a replicator. And another amazing feature that I love and makes your life so much nicer is copy paste. Look, you're able to select one or multiple of your inputs, and the top option says copy. You copy this, and you can paste it inside Earthster into any other part of the cycle. For example, here, you click paste. It will take everything how it was, but this time I'm gonna delete it because I don't want them here. Then that's easy. Then you can also create a new cycle and paste it into another cycle. I'm just gonna say copy paste. We click next, one unit, and paste it in here. Look, paste. Ta-da! The same information I was able to use in another model. Super useful when you have created something that you want to reuse in another model. Of course, you could create it as another cycle, but this gives you superpowers. And what makes it even cooler is that when you paste your data into a spreadsheet, you can do a lot of cool things with this. And this is, some of our clients prefer this even over the generator, because once you know the references, it's going to take exactly that data set what you were looking for. You can change the description. This also takes the query, and you can create variations. And this one, the copy paste, also tries to guess if you leave these empty. Look, let me show you what happens if you use the copy paste to create a structure for your model. And let me add here an extra row above. I'm gonna call this also, this is gonna be a C. C is a custom process. And actually, no, what am I writing? A1, we're gonna add a bundle instead. One bundle, unit doesn't have. when you are starting to use copy paste for this, what I'm doing now, you have to be careful with a bit that how the numbering goes. And you can do a lot of Excel magic with that. Look, now what's going to happen with this change that I just did, it's going to create for me a bundle that has 3 inputs. All these 3 are going to end up in inputs because here I have specified that they belong to the parent, what's called number 1. And these are the values it's going to use. It's looking for something that's going to be kilos. There's the description. And I don't have a reference. So let's see. And not having a reference means that the system, you have to tell the system what you're going to be using for it. And that's different from the mapping. Let me show you. We go to distribution. We're going to paste it here like this. And now it's telling me to connect what was in my copy paste table into a dataset in Earthster. When I'm going to choose these mappings, so-called mappings, the system will not remember the next time. So this is different from the generator mappings, but regardless of it, really useful if you want to do quick changes in Excel or you do VLOOKUP systems, and you can use this. And for example, exactly injection molding, I would say I do want a different one, and we are going to take Europe. And now that we are in this view, so we are about to paste. I'm going to demo for you one of the new features that we have. You probably knew already that you can filter based on the genre tag that tells you what type of dataset it is, the unit of the dataset, the scale of it, geography, where it's applied, what the authors of the dataset is considering relevant for the dataset, and the origin refers to the dataset provider. In this case, for example, this is EcoInvent, PEF, and we have many, many more. So those what we used to have. Now we have a new one that you are able to filter based on the name of the dataset. And in this case, I'm looking for injection molding. I don't want to see the markets. I don't want to see any other things. And here is one of them that I'm looking for. I click on the check mark, click, and now it's filtered out everything else. And like this, I'm able to see that, okay, so data set called injection molding, there is in 3 different regions available in EcoInvent. A cool new way of seeing that. Is there because the search doesn't always end up logical. So like this, you can see easily that where is it from. And now we are gonna say, oh, let's choose a Canadian just for the fun of it. Nylon base, that looks the correct one. The same way you click on the info, you see it. And market for titania, that's something different. Titanium oxide, you have to remember to clear the filters. And then this one is a good one. Select mapping, it changes it. And in case you are using the copy paste for this and decide you're not finding something that you're looking for, but you want to use the structure, what you can do also is skip it. Up here, if you click skip mapping, it says that it's an unlinked process and it's going to be added as a custom process. Look, paste and import. Now it created for us a bundle called A1. For example, you could paste data from, what's that? An EPD. That's why I chose A1. You open it, you see the inputs, and as you can see, this is a custom process. So it has taken the value, the kilos like was specified in the table, but it's empty. So now I have to remember at some point when I'm continuing with the modeling to add an actual data set that will be represented in that custom process. And the way it works is when you have found the right one, this one is a good one. It's a PEF data set, good. Add process. What it does is the custom process has a multiplier. So what we are doing is a mini LCA or a recipe. We are saying to make 1 kilo of titanium oxide, we need 1 kilo of titanium production. But here it's specified that for my model, I'm using only 0.01 kilo. Really useful. Use custom processes, for example, for representing, like I mentioned before, you have 4 screws in your product. You say out here 4, then the scale of it is screws, and you add the inputs needed, the steel, if you have recycled steel, all those things, you can add it there per 1 screw. Instead of saying per 1 kilo or anything, you specify it based on what you're modeling to make it much easier. So this is about copy pasting. So there's different magic that you can use. And now, since I've been talking about the replicator, another new feature that I'm going to show you is what we call the impact overrides. Now, what are they? I'm sure you have encountered situations like this. If we now go back to our bio-based products, especially bio-based products have the situation of you have gotten from your supplier some information, carbon footprint information, or a full LCA, where someone has done an LCA before, and they say that their bio-based polycarbonate, the environmental impact is, well, if we are saying usually it's per kilo, if it's per kilo, let's say they say it's 5 kilos of CO2 and not what the dataset says. What you would do in that case, so what you have to make sure is the LCA, the scope of the LCA matches your model where you are about to override the impact. But what you can do is override it totally. So look, now imagine my supplier has given for me the information that the polycarbonate that I'm buying from them is 5 kilo of CO2. What I do is I click here on the bottom, impact overrides. Here I can add up any category available for my user in the system. If you have a full EcoEnvent license, you can have all those impact categories. So now imagine the supplier has done their report in IPCC. I go here, I click add new category, and IPCC, it was already showing me several. As you can see here, you search for the category, and then when you find the one that they have their LCA report on, or the EPD, you can look up the results, and then you find the right one. So let's put IPCC, climate change. No, did not like adding extras. Good, then, yeah, of course, IPCC doesn't use climate change. Makes sense. Global warming potential, what we want to see, all of them has it. Okay, then let's see, global warming 100. Now we have a bit less here. The one that I want to use is the total. So default global warming potential 100, which refers to the 100-year, and the total including every single type of carbon dioxide emissions. We click here, add, and here I specify that it's 5 kilos of CO2. So it takes the same value as the impact category itself. And if we remove it, and you could add many more. So for example, from a EPD, you would have all the EN categories or EF 3.1, depending on the EPD, you would start adding those and you can specify. And what it does at the moment, so this is brand new, we're still improving the usability, it will override the impact for the whole cycle. So at the moment, you can't yet specify per element, but you will be soon able to do that. And kind of like the same way as you're adding exchanges with nature, so elementary flows, these will be impact flows. So you will select the impact category, specify it, and then it will be visualized like this. But that's not done yet. But look what happens. So now we have specified that this one is 5 kilos of CO2. What I'm going to do now is issue a release. I'm going to say has impact override, just for me to know. Releases is one of those things that are super important when you want to use your own models in another one, because the system is connected based on that. So it says that when I'm going to add this cycle somewhere, it's going to look for the latest release. If it doesn't have one, it kind of takes a snapshot, but something won't be like, it will not take the full inventory. And you won't be able to see, for example, your results in other impact categories. You can see the main 5 categories we have. Then, exactly, now we have a release. And the release is internal. So it's for you to be able to find it in the search, because that's part of your organization's data. If you would want to be sharing, like imagine the model you took is from the LCA report, you have set it up really nicely, you could decide to share the whole model with the Earthster community. And that's actually, I really recommend doing it. That if you made the effort that others could benefit from it, there's no sensitive information, share it with everyone so that others can use it. But if you do, please make sure in the notes you add information, what you have modeled, who has modeled it, or at least some information that when they use it, they can say, this is awesome, I can trust this. Because you can add here documents. So you can add a whole thing in there. I mean, the whole LCA report, and others can see it. So Earthster is designed also for sharing if you want to share. It's not needed to share. So we have the release. Okay, now let's see what happens if I want to add this dataset into another one. We're going to add it to the copy-paste one. Look, now that it has a release, if I add it, I look up, just like I would be looking up a dataset, I'm looking up my own cycles. When you want to do that, I recommend changing the scope to my own cycles. This refers to your organization. So for example, if there is 15 users from your organization, it means everyone's cycles, so not only yours specifically. And then we are gonna put the bio-based. Now I don't even remember here. As you can see, now that I've written bio-based, if I don't put my own cycles, it would have looked for all sorts of other things. But because I did, this is working nicely. And then we are saying that let's add the NIDO. No, this one. Add process. That's the one that has the overrides. And look, now that we are adding my own cycle, since the model had specified in both grams and kilos the functional unit, I can choose. I can say that I'm adding into this model, let's say 7 grams of injection molded plastic. Worth using it so that you don't always have to say 0.007 kilos of plastic. You can do these kind of conversions. Or conversions, so it does it for you because it scales it down. Then, exactly, this is how it looks. And now the interesting thing is that what we are viewing now in the default category is recipe 2016, the results. And it says, maybe let's change it to 1 gram so that we see. 1 gram will be, it takes the 7.41 grams of CO2. If we change it to the kilos, what you were seeing before, it's just gonna multiply it by 1,000. But what I want to show you is in IPCC, what we overridden. So we go, view the impact in the IPCC. Here, go here, we choose the same one, total, view the cycle, it's recalculating for us, and look, as you can see already from here, it takes 5 instead of what it would be taking without the override. Now, this is super important. If you use the overrides, and especially even without any data, imagine you got the EPD, you don't know the inventory of it at all, you just create an empty cycle with the overrides. In every other category, it will show wrong. So if we go back now to the total normal climate change, it says 7.41. It does not know that you have overridden because it's a different impact category. And that's important to remember if you use EPD results in your models. That if you have added a CO2 results from somewhere else in another category, it will not work. And it will show you incorrect results. Okay, then looks like I have some questions. Or not questions, actually a comment. So Paul is saying that this will be excellent, enabling input of impacts from supplier EPDs when available. Yes, it's exactly heading that way. That's what we're doing for, because there's more and more EPDs are done in the world, LCA reports, all those things, and there is clearly a trend that, like, the manufacturers of products, especially those who have done LCAs, are now starting to be willing to share their information. There's still a lot of secrecy. You might get only the overall results, not the logic behind what has been put into the LCA. But the world is getting more transparent, and we are improving Earthster to make sure that you can use that data. And the easier, the better. So any of those related to when you're using Earthster, if you feel like, I would like it like this, or telling us that, oh, I struggle with this part, please send a chat, tell us your struggles, and then we keep on improving. That's the goal. So we want feedback from you to make everything awesome. Okay, then another thing, if we go back to my Lego model, that many of you will love it. I do. Look, in the scale, I have specified these two production units. This was done with the generator, but I could have done it by hand. And before, you could only see your total results based on the first one you have added, which really often is 1 unit or 1 kilo, and you lose some little aspects of your model. And now what we have added is you can choose what you see your total with. So if I click kilo, it updates this value. Unfortunately, it doesn't change anything else. So if you open the drawer, it will be still showing it based on the first functional unit you have created. But at least here you can much easier see it. Oh, okay. In this case, it's 1,000-fold. But if you would have a model that you have one lock, then will be used for 15 years. Then per year of usage of the lock, the impact will be different. Good. Any questions? Let me see, meanwhile, my notes, what I was planning on showing. Yes. Look, we were doing a lot of searches back and forth. And when you're looking for data sets, another aspect that the more databases we have added, now we have a need of being able to easier sort, especially that the different path nodes are considered as different databases. They have all their own terms and conditions. Now what you see here is a new little thingy to select the origin. If you click here, it lets you pre-select EcoInvent, USEIO, or Axiobase. Later on, you will get the list of every single thing, but now this will also help you. Look, you click EcoInvent, and then it filters out the rest. And then if you want to have another one, it will show that one. But of course, if I have two of those, I need to remove one of them. And there's nothing bio-based in the USEIO. Let's see. Exactly. This is how it looks. Exciting little changes that will improve your LCA modeling. Let me see. Then, yes. So, two more things for me to show is how to use the replicator to override any of these impacts. So you can automate it, especially if you have it as a an EPD file. And the other thing that I want to show is the ISO documentation. Since your goal is to create an LCA model that not only you know what has went into it, especially if you're planning on creating an EPD, you need to follow the ISO standards to make sure that everything you have added into your model follows the right standard. And what we have added is a documentation section. This was here last time already. And when you click there, you can create sections by hand. Look, you can create a new one. It's called section 1. You rename it and you say notes. You click here and start writing something like this, and then you put an enter and you have your data. If you copy paste in there from another, for example, from a Word document, it will allow you to have bullet points. Otherwise, it's simple text. This is what it does, like normal documentation. So it's up to you to decide what you want to document. But of course, like we said, ISO standards are important. What here, look where I clicked. So we have documentation open. We click on the 3 dots and appears the add sections for ISO 14044. If I click here, it will automatically add the expected sections if you want to document everything according to the standard. And you can start writing introduction. This LCA was created as a demo. And of course, you write there proper information. Now, the good thing is all this information that you're adding in here, you're able to export. We have, in this organization, I don't have the custom exports. That's something that we have, you can have. These are our default exports. But when you tell us that I need an export with IPCC results and I want my notes section, the documentation section visible, I can create one of those for you. And then you get on your export the same thing. Now, for example, would be a simple thing. It just takes our results. Like this is how it looks, a PDF, for example. And there's more and more elements that we can customize, so to make it better fit for your company's needs. Okay, that's the documentation section. And now let's go to the replicator and override some impacts. Look, I'm going to use one of my previous ones, the replicators that I have. And I have here one that I'm using to replicate. As I mentioned before, the replicator works in a way that it looks up the cycle that you want to update or create. In this case, we are going to update. Looks for the hashtags that you have added into the description field, like I had in my previous one, these hashtags. Where do I have it here? Bio-based PC, for example. Then, it's this one with the cost. At any word like this, at color, refers to a parameter. I have in that cycle a parameter, and here I'm choosing red. And now this is the part that you can add into models, is the cost. So now you can start doing life cycle costing with your models. Look, you go to impact overrides and add a new category and you add cost. Here, a technology flow. That's the environmental cost indicator. That's a different cost. This is a technology flow. As you can see, it says experimental. And here, you're overriding the costs of your model. So for example, if this is €5, now imagine all these inputs would be from your components that you have already created, and each component costs 10 cents. But you're selling it to your clients for €5. This is what you would doing. That otherwise it just adds up together the cost and it says it costs €2. But you want this particular model to be considered as 5. So you override the impact of it, the cost. So you can do life cycle costing now with Earthster. That's something new. And in here, that's what I did. Exclamation mark, cost, and then I put this value, upload with the replicator, and it changes the values. Now I want to add here also the IPCC. Look, exclamation mark, IPCC, and I need to check how it looks inside the impact overrides. So add again the IPCC because there's a way of doing it. Let's put the 100 here. This is what we were using, this one. This is what you're actually adding into the file. So what I just copied, so I marked in there. You can also just type it. And what we are going to do is add that. So I'm going to exclamate. It starts with an exclamation mark, no spaces. You paste in there the information, and it has taken this part. So that as is. Then you need to add the little upline, and then you add the method name. So that's a bit annoying in the beginning when you get used to it, especially if you don't remember how to do the upright line in Excel. Let me copy it from somewhere. How do I write it? Upright line, symbol, vertical bar. That's what we are looking for. Look, this is what I do often when I don't know how to write something on my own keyboard. I look it up. You paste it in there. There's no spaces here, even though here visually is. Then we're going to take the method name. We add that also, no spaces. This is how it looks. Once you have it, it's going to be easy to have it, or you can create concatenate. You take it from different spots. You can make your model smarter than mine. And then you add the values. And let's say this is going to be the IPCC results 2, 2.3, 2.3. Let's just continue like this. Good. And another new thing that we have added. So with the replicator, what we're going to do is take these cycles that already exist, update the cost of it, update the geography of it. And I don't know if I've done that already. So we are going to say France like this. Let's paste it. And we are going to override the impact. Download as a CSV. Go back to Earthster. Then you'll see my previous Lego blocks that I have here, a nice workspace. All of those are here. So if we look up the block, look, then we can say let's see the red ones, because that's what I have in there. Here are the different red ones. And as you can see now, the geography is marked as Spain. And what we're going to do is override it or change it with the help of the replicator. So the replicator creates new cycle variations, kind of like makes a copy and updates something. And with the same file, you update in batch. And that's what we're going to do now. Click here, update in batch. Take that file that I just downloaded in here, upload and update. Now it says that it's already done it. That was fast. Then just in case I reload my page, and let's find the red ones. And for some weird reason, I think it didn't do it. Let's see. Impact overrides. No, it did not do it. Let's take this one out. I haven't done this. The impact categories, I know. Yeah, this is why it's just launched, experimental, and I definitely need to know all your feedback when you're using it. And when you notice something like this that happened to me, just drop a chat message and say that, Heini, I just tried to update it and it didn't do anything. And let me check from the logs and fix the things as soon as we can. And let me see, red. Here are my red ones, and it does not find it. Yes, of course. Look, I don't know if you noticed. Do you know why it's not finding anything? It didn't complain, didn't make any issues, and it's like everything is fine. My cycle name is called Lego block, and in here they're just called blocks. So it did what I asked it to do. It was looking for a cycle named like this, and I don't have any here. So let me find those where I have them. I might not have them yet, what means we are gonna create them. We have a few minutes. So I'm gonna put back the impacts. We are gonna replicate some cycles so that you see how it works. Let me see, where is my template? Here is the Lego blocks template. The template means that this model is gonna be the one that I'm gonna be replicating. And it could be anything, but I have the right setup with the information, with the hashtags and all those things. I could have created a new one, but what we're gonna do is, because I want to do this in the other workspace so that you see, we duplicate it, move this new copy to the other workspace. We are gonna put it into this workspace. It's here. And now I'm gonna create those red blocks with the replicator file. At the same time, it's going to override all the impacts and create it. And you'll see how it goes. So this time you go to settings, replicate in bulk. That's the action we are doing. So now we are creating the cycles because they don't exist. When you're doing it the first time, you can download the template of those which will have all the headers that you have in your model. So it will have the ABS, color, any others that you have. Helps getting started with it. But because I have it already, I click here. Then I need to upload the right one. Let me see. This is with the impacts. Or actually, I'm going to show you how is it without the impacts. The version. We are now creating them. Look, now it's telling me that the file is being processed. It's done. We go out here. And look. We have in a few seconds several models like this. And all it needed is to have the information in a spreadsheet. And when we open it, there's all the values that we have specified. And also, it's going to have already the cost that was in my file. And look, we have this. And then we are going to do the other version with this. So now that we have the cycles, I'm going to click Update in Batch. Let me double check the file. Yes, this one. Drop it. Update. It's telling me that it's doing things. And then in a moment, if we reload the page, it's already telling me, look, now the geography is France, no longer Spanish. And it's doing it while we are talking. And if I reload now all of them, it has been updated. And if we go inside the model, we can see in here the impact overrides. Wait, yeah, it did not like me adding the impact itself. So clearly I need to check what probably I did the typo in there so it doesn't find it. That's something that we're gonna fix so that it doesn't happen to you. Good. We have one question or 1 minute left. Any questions related to this or any other things? One thing worth mentioning, so all these, the replicator and the generator, for you to be able to use it, you need a corporate license. The copy paste is available for everyone. And then, for example, if you have parameters in your model, like I do in these, for that you need a collaborative level license at least. So some of these features, so when you have a corporate license, you have everything available in Earthster. For example, even single sign-on, we have now available. And if you need less functionality and a bit more affordable prices, then the professional is great, or the collaborative, both of those. So if you need to know more about the pricing, what you can do is go to Earthster, like this, earthster.org. You'll find more information about us in general. You can get a free trial. You can read more information about it, and then their pricing is let me see. I'm not finding it quickly. I'm gonna do it like this. Pricing. Search.org/pricing. Here you can see what things we have. And you can book a demo and get your own subscription. Thank you for watching. See you next time. The next time will be, let me double check, in about a month. That's already available in LinkedIn to sign up. It's gonna be on the 25th of June at the same time as this one. This session is automatically recorded, so you can rewatch it in the LinkedIn live or in the LinkedIn event. And later on, it will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. And if you want to find it, you go to YouTube and at Earthster LCA. And here you find all useful little videos, demos, and the full webinars to help you get started and use Earthster the most efficient way and do LCAs at scale. Thank you for watching and see you in about a month. Bye bye.